Welcome to our very first episode of Facts and Two Cents. Our handle on Twitter and Instagram, Facts and Two Cents. And you're here with Pamela, P and
And
P.
pedal.
Yes, exactly. So we are just fascinated about all that's going on in our universe. Unless you're living under the rocks and you don't know what's going on, we will bring you the facts. That's basically what it is. And then we'll add our own 2 cents to it to give a very comical is what I'm trying to say. Comical undertone.
Yep.
So as you can see, this is how the show's gonna be. There's times we'll be really serious and times that we're just gonna have fun with it. So enjoy with us. So there's a lot going on in our community, right? In the world as a whole. And we want to bring you the facts. Currently it's the British Royal to be specific, and we want to narrow it down to our two faves. Well, a couple of our faves. So will be Harry and Meghan, Archie, and someone that Pedro's name, Baby Moniceto.
Baby
Um,
Moniceto.
And Pula, Guy, Doria, Mama Doria, and the whole gang, right? We want to really just talk about them. And I think Pedro said earlier, which is not you didn't hear it, but she says, we own our pettiness. But
We
although
own
we
our
own it,
bias and we own our
our bias
pettiness.
and our yes, we own our bias and we own our pettiness. So don't come for us because we've already used a disclaimer. We are biased. So if you know we're biased, don't come here and argue. You know what I mean? It's like it's just clear. It's a moot point. We are biased.
We are not here for the English royals. We are not here for them.
We're not here for
We're
the
only
English
here for the
royals.
Montecito ones.
Yeah. Don't come for us unless we send for you. Quote from
Yes.
King and Mo. And the devil is a liar. So anyway, so we are here to just talk about what we see and what we hear in our research. So yeah, so Pedro, what do you want to add to it before we kick this whole new episode going?
So yeah, one of the big things that's been happening the last couple of weeks. I mean, you may have heard of this tiny little interview with Oprah that our favs in Montecito did on March 7th, and it was this tiny little thing that nobody heard of at all around the world. But yeah, they had to sit down.
We happen to hear it though.
Oh yeah, we heard about it. So we are here to tell you because we know you have better things in your day to do. And so you didn't hear anything about this at all. So we are here to, give you the facts about that. Absolutely. Anyway, so on March 7th, Meghan and Harry, our faves, did this interview with Oprah, basically about why they decided to leave the royal family. Not leave the royal family, but step back as working royals of the royal family and move a whole continent, a whole continent away from them. To start a whole new life in Montecito, California. Well, originally they planned to actually start that life in Canada because it's part of the Commonwealth, and they thought, but then with COVID and everything, neither of them being Canadians and the borders were closing, they didn't really have much of a choice but to move.
Well, there's more to it before, there was more to the reason why they, so we're going to talk about that.
But just, how we got to Montecito.
Right.
How we got to California. Plus, that's Meghan's hometown anyway. So it just stands to reason. So back to this little interview that they did on March 7th. There are so many things that came out of that interview, so many shocking things. But if you really have been following them, it's not all that shocking. Yeah. But, it just sort of confirms what was obviously
what
there.
The squad, what the squad has known for the past 4 years, right? Been highlighting. So the fan group and followers of our faves, we tend to refer to ourselves as the squad, the Sussex squad, online. So that's the way you will find a lot of us. But there's so much that I feel like I actually think the FBI should hire some of the Sussex squads because
seriously,
the investigative acumen is like none other. You know what I mean? It's like they I said they as I'm a part of it, but like, yeah, like, but those, the individuals who do the research and have, even servers to like back up receipts. It's like, they didn't come to play.
It's, yeah, the squad have receipts for just about everything.
Everything. Like,
everything.
You posted, they saved it. You posted, they saved it.
The squad will have receipts about things you're like, didn't even know existed.
Like, you have receipts?
Nobody else but the squad know. And they will have it. And the one thing about the squad is they're not afraid to post, they're not afraid to use the receipts.
No, yeah.
It is like
don't come for them. Don't come for us. Like, they will. I keep saying them as though I said them because I don't have them receipts, so I'm saying them, but it's us, right? Like, people pull receipts out of nowhere. They're like, oh, in 1994, before before Harry was even born. I'm just kidding, but they'll just have all these receipts and be like laid out alphabetically. That will make sense. And as they lay those receipts out, the storytelling, right? They're telling a story. So you're following, you're not confused, like you get it. So I love it.
So one of the things that, among a whole bunch of big things that came up in the interview is the response. Is Meghan and Harry's claim that someone in their family, they didn't say who the person is. They didn't say if it was a senior member of the royal family or if it was one of the, not senior member. You don't want to say minor, but that's how they term it. They just said a member of the royal family raised concerns about the color of Archie's skin when he, he wasn't born yet, but they were concerned of what his skin, the shade of his skin.
Well, they didn't even know if it was a male or female, just concerned about the baby.
They were just this concern.
Right.
And so there was like a whole lot of noise or talk around this. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about was the response to it. How people responded to that when they heard that, oh my gosh, someone in the royal family would, said this racist thing, and it's just like, why would you be concerned about, the color?
What triggered you? What got you, your mind like going like, okay, wait a minute.
The response.
Your response, yeah. What triggered you?
I think it was how quickly knowing and being, for the last couple of years, just being sort of in tune with how the British people think in terms of race, how they respond in terms of race. I was very surprised. Well,
you're surprised?
I was just gonna go back on that. So I knew,
right?
How quickly they're like, no, I'm not racist. We're not racist. It still surprised me that people still said it. I had to be like, are you serious? Have we not been bringing this up over and over and over and over? And I think of Dr. Shola, who is on every television show in England talking about this. I was surprised to see people actually still shocked about this.
Right, yeah. So,
and I'm like, have you not been listening? Has Harry not been talking about structural racism this whole time?
Here's the thing, though. Here's the point. For most Brits, they're either from Caribbean descent or African descent, right? For most, majority of the time. Like the blacks, I should say. Sorry, I meant the blacks. I'm correct myself. I meant the black Brits. Mostly it's African descent or Caribbean descent. So just those two alone, it's colonization, right? So you can't say there's no racism from that place. That just shut that argument down right away. So for any African or Caribbean descent who lives in the UK to say that there's no racism, I'm floored by that, right? Your ancestors were enslaved. Whether you like, you believe it or not, it does. They did. So that alone just shuts down the argument. The entire premise of sovereignty, of the monarchy, is built on slavery, colonization, And racism. I mean, imperialism is like all those things. It's which part is confusing. It just baffles me
Apparently, all of it,
to
because
to rel- to think that that doesn't exist. Now, you might not have encountered racism with a royal because you don't live with them, like Meghan did. You just went into one of their palaces and got an award, member of the British Empire, MP, whatever they call it.
the
You got an
MBE and
award,
the OBE.
MBE, yeah, and they just, knighted you or whatever the case may be, and you left and you felt, oh, they are so lovely. And they probably were lovely that moment. It doesn't change what that whole institution is built on, right? It
Right.
doesn't change the possibility of people working within those institutions who have a different mindset. So you might not have experienced it, doesn't mean someone did it. And so to belittle or to take away someone's experience is just foul.
Yeah. And I think too, it's, I think back to, say, Prince William's, he was doing one of their, him and Kate went out on one of their, to meet with one of their patronages, and a reporter, which I honestly think was a setup, but a reporter asked him, can you tell us, sir, is the royal family racist? And his response was, we are very much not a racist family.
Right.
And it's one of those things you're like, Prince William, have you met
why do you think
yourself?
it's a setup?
Have you met your family?
Why do you think it's a setup? That's intriguing. I never even think about that. Never thought about that. It never crossed my mind that it could be a setup. Why do you think? What makes you think it's a setup?
It was one of those things where for me, I felt like William wanted to address this. I feel like he wanted to say something about it because I've been looking at his character. He's definitely competitive. He's definitely, and honestly, it just could be me, but I just felt like it was one of those things.
Because it didn't really make sense out of the blue. The way the question was asked, right? Think about it, it's like,
and even if it wasn't, for him to say that, it was one of those things like, that their motto is never complain, never explain. This is one of those times that should have been zip it.
Right.
If only because
Charles
there
did
is
it.
so
Charles
much documented evidence online, which people have been posting all the time since he said that. There's so much documented evidence of people in the royal family saying racist stuff. The only shock for me is when Prince Harry said that it was not his grandfather, because that would be the first one that I would think.
That was what. Who was this comedian? That
was shocking in that whole.
There was this comedian, Oliver.
Prince Philip.
Who's the name of that comedian? The British comedian who resides in the U.S. Not the one that did the not James Gordon, the other one. He does a late night weekly with. Last week with Oliver, I think his name is. Anyways,
Jimmy. Yeah, okay. I don't know.
So he said when Prince Harry said, "Oh, it wasn't his grandfather or grandmother." He was shocked. He was like, "Your grandfather of all people should be him."
Exactly what I thought when he said that. I was like, "Yep, that's Prince Philip." Just like, that was the first, and then when he said, it's like, really? It wasn't Prince Philip? You sure? And why would we think that? Because Prince Philip always says racist stuff. It's like he has a history, and not just about Black people, with Asian people. It's calling them like slanty eyes, and it's like, I mean, he just says stuff that is just, and even, I just even came across an article where, an article in The Guardian from 2018, actually, where this, and it was part of a Commonwealth seminar thing that they were doing, where this writer, the lady who wrote the piece from The Guardian, met Prince Charles, and he asked her, well, where are you from? And she's like, from Manchester. And his comment was, well, you don't look like you're from Manchester. And so she
I
wrote
saw that.
an article as, am I not I think it says, am I not brown enough or something? Or am I not white enough to be from Manchester? And I have to go back to the name of the specific title of the article. I should have had it with me, but it's just, they say stuff like this all the time. So to think that someone in your family, I mean, it's not just them, you know, we have Princess Michael with that, the brooch. We have Prince Andrew saying, you know, racist stuff. I mean, it's documented online. So for Prince William to come and like, oh, we're very much not a racist. There's also called the thing called unconscious bias. It's like, you know, you don't say stupid stuff, but especially when it's so documented all over the internet, that could throw it right back at you.
Absolutely.
So, Meghan talked about, you know, having suicidal thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
And wanting to kill herself, got into a place where she was so low that while pregnant with Archie, she wanted to kill herself.
Yeah.
And one of the things that was
I cried when I was watching
that really made me cry. Yeah. And you know what? I wasn't surprised, because I remember when all this was so bad while she was pregnant, I kept thinking, how could she survive this? Like, how could she handle this?
Yeah.
Because
that's her not even reading the magazine.
Yeah. And I was reading them. I saw the articles and I was like, it wasn't about me. And I was thinking, oh my gosh.
It was overwhelming just even reading it. So I can understand how her friends and mom will call her and express that overwhelmness, you know, to her, because even as a reader, you needed an outlet to let it out, because you're taking all this information in, and it's not about you. It's about somebody that you just happen to like and admire, and you just feel overwhelmed. It's carry this load, and you're like, oh my God. So I completely understand how she would feel, but just being receiving it from a second or third person, right? And
exactly. I mean, I felt damaged. I had to put away. I had to stop reading that stuff because I, as a reader, felt damaged.
Right.
So imagine her, who that was, about, and who the person that is coming at every single day. Yeah. And so for me, when she talked about that, one of the most disheartening things, and I wasn't shocked to see it, because there's so many things online about her lying and about her fake baby and all this horrible stuff about her. But it was so disheartening still to see how many people were calling her a liar.
Yeah.
And then to see people like Piers Morgan on national television calling her a liar. Because, I kept thinking oh my gosh, if I was a suicidal person at that moment, watching someone who is a world figure talking to a worldwide audience of over 60 million people, sharing with them that she was about to kill herself with her baby, and to have people on national TV included calling her a liar. Yeah. If I was suicidal, what would happen to me?
Exactly. Yeah. And that is why she wrote that letter right away.
Exactly.
To is it ITV? Oh, I'm not.
Yeah, it was ITV, GMB, which
Yeah, because it's not about her just sharing her story. It's about what that represents, right?
Exactly.
And people might be watching, and instead of having them listen, you don't have to like her, which I don't know why you wouldn't, because she hasn't done anything to you. But if you choose not to, for some reason, you can't deny somebody's lived experience. Yeah, you didn't live that experience. So it's not up to you to deny that or deny them of that, right? It's like, she just, why would she come on a global stage and lie?
And about something like that.
About something like that.
You know what I mean? And
that says more about you. That says more about you questioning that than her. Because
exactly. You know what the sad part of this is? The sad part of this is that the people were saying, well, they don't believe she went to HR. They don't believe Valentine Lowe, the Times writer who broke, who the palace used with their smear campaign of bullying, who broke that story. Valentine Lowe did a podcast. And on that podcast, Valentine Lowe said in 2019, he was told, the palace leaked information that he knew that Meghan was going through a mental distress. He didn't know that she was suicidal. He knew that she was going through mental distress, and he knew that she went to HR for help.
Look at that.
The palace leaked that information. So royal reporters knew that Meghan was going through mental distress in 2019.
But
they knew she went to HR for help because he said it on the podcast. And they still continue to abuse her.
They wanted to kill her. They wanted to kill her. And you know what also like just stood out to me during the whole conversation when she was talking about how they had to go to the Albert Hall event.
I would never forget that.
And you remember when she sat down and Harry extended her hands and she said thank you? We were all kind of like, oh, we thought Harry was, and he was, rightfully so. He was in distress. He was not in a good space because that same day she had told him she wanted to kill herself.
She wanted to kill. I would not. That video has haunted me for so long because I thought Harry. Honestly, what I thought was happening was Harry was having a PTSD moment.
Meghan has a tendency of just smiling often. You know, she just like some people just smile through things. Right, their default is to smile.
Yeah.
And so you can see that she was smiling, but the smile was kind of like a bit forced. If you can see, it wasn't her normal,
right? Yeah,
cool green, right? At certain moments, you can see she had this tight look on her face.
Right.
But we didn't know, hindsight is 2020. We didn't know at that point that this is what was taking place. I think we all thought something was going wrong and we thought it was more Harry.
Yeah, because Harry can't hide his feelings. He just wears his feelings on his sleeve. So you know when something is wrong.
Right. Yeah. And that is why her friend thought they looked really great, right? When the friend started the pictures, like, you guys look beautiful, amazing. But now you can tell you can see. Yeah. You look at it, you're like, wow, because he gave her his hand and she said, thank you. Because I was even thinking, why would she say thank you for him extending her hands to her? But because he knew what was going on, right? And he just needed to keep her close. So that's there's so much revelations if you want to look at it, which is so amazing. And I just really, really, I still feel for them, but I know that they're in a better place now and they're thriving, like you said. Yeah. But we cannot forget, all that happened. And we are going to date them and, call things out. But so absolutely. Yeah.
I think, the fact that this is not the first time, the second time, the third time that the royal family has ignored someone's mental health. It just came out that I saw that they did the same thing with the Queen's sister.
Well, that was the Crown showed it. I mean, whether you believe the Crown or not, it was on the Crown, and Margaret was like left to her own devices.
Drink herself to death.
You know what I mean? And denying herself. So it was Margaret, it was Diana, it was Fergie, it was and Meghan. Right.
And then and the worst part of it is like they are championing these, mental health initiatives. And it's like you're damaging the very people. It's like, so for me, it's all about the initiative, but not exactly about the people. Because if you care about people, you would be caring about the people. Right.
And so now they're hiring a diversity person to come in. And I was like, you had the diversity person. Meghan Markle. You could have just talked to her. How about you go talk to her and she can help you? Like, she is the perfect person for you. But you still haven't spoken. You don't know.
And as of last Tuesday, they didn't even pick up the phone.
To talk to her. But you're going to go hire a diversity person to come help with the diversity within the palaces and the households.
Yeah, it's about optics. They just want.
Makes me want to ask you this question though. Who do you think said the whole skin call about the baby?
William. And I think it's genius that Harry and Meghan did not name that person. When they didn't name it, I thought they're just giving them rope to hang themselves. Because you will see, and it's exactly what is happening. I have seen so many puff pieces at this point. I expect every single magazine, every newspaper, every broadcaster have
Oh
a
my
special
God.
about
Oh,
how
William.
wonderful Prince William is.
The other brother. He is.
I'm glad it wasn't like a Sussex squad said I mean, we always call him the other brother, but to see it actually in print by people
And
who are supposed to be bigging him up, like
having a military uniform on. I'm like, dude, did he even serve? No.
Well, no, and not only that, that picture of that other brother picture, it was from 2012. It was from a 2012 photo shoot that he did with the Queen and also Camilla. It's from a photo shoot that was done in 2012, and it was released. People magazine had an article about it. It came out in 2015. That's why it wasn't even an official event where they got that, because the Queen and Camilla have pictures, because that picture it's sort of like it's set in a mirror, and so it had like 3 other reflections of him. You'll find the same picture of the Queen and also Camilla. They all 3 did the same thing. Oh, so you have this thing. So this is a picture from 2012. They could not even get
Right. That is crazy. Yeah. I understand.
Again, facts.
Facts. Facts, and not 2 cents. Our 2 cents is that's not, who he is. He shouldn't be wearing. Because if anything, you know what amazed me? What I think the tabloids did before, when they had. I don't think if you remember this magazine. I can't remember which one. They had William in a military uniform, and they had Harry in a civilian outfit, and I was just like,
it was the shade Times. Of it all. Valentine, I think it was Valentine Lowe who wrote the article. I think I could be wrong, but it was the Times article, and it was they had Prince William in the uniform, the one who did not serve in the military, and Harry in the civilian clothes, the one who actually did 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan. Yeah. And that was the article that says, I cannot put my arms around my brother anymore. Yes. Mm-hmm. And then they changed it to Harry needs to be work part of the team or some stupidness like that. Right. And right after that, when Harry and Meghan were, I think when they were leaving, I think there was this article that came out that Prince William, Harry and Meghan left because they felt bullied by Prince William. And that was the Times article that Valentine Lowe wrote. Later that day, it came out. They put out the palace supposedly put out an article.
Yeah.
That Harry and William said that no, that's false.
Right.
And I remember when that came out, and they refuted the article that Prince William was a bully, and it says Harry and William. And I remember thinking, I don't think Harry had anything to do with that. And I remember
came out that he did.
All of this is like, no, this is a William statement. And only the thing to come out this week that, yes, this statement did not come from Harry.
Look at that. It came
from William.
Look at that.
And so the last thing I was thinking about the interview was the double standard in reporting. How biased, how unethical, how hypocritical the British press reporting is. And so what case in point was this past week, Tuesday, Gayle King had an update. Had an update on Harry and Meghan about,
Well, Gayle called them to check up on them. Right, let's just Gayle called them, check up on them
to see how they were doing.
It seems like she was speaking with Harry, because Harry was saying, so go ahead.
Coming out of the interview was that they had a phone call with Charles and with William, and that it was unproductive.
And it didn't go well. Yeah.
Right. It was unproductive. And one of the things that they were upset about was because the official statement from Buckingham Palace was that they were going to handle this as a family, and it was going to be private as a family. All the claims that, Meghan and Harry made. But
then Royal Nika re-exposed it.
I know exactly, which is exactly what I was going to say. So that was the official thing. And so one of the things that Gayle was saying that Harry and Meghan, they were upset because the royals said they wanted to do this privately. They wanted to do it as a family and privately, but they were still leaking information to the press, including leaking information that was disparaging to Meghan's, against Meghan about the bogus bullying claim.
Yeah.
So the Gayle King's, one of her co-hosts, was literally reading Roya Nika's article. He even mentioned Roya Nika in the post as to this was in response to the fact that the royal family
they jumped over all that.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
they jumped all over that, and then all the news media outlets, I think Lorraine and BBC and This Morning and all of them, all they heard was, how can, if you're going to resolve an issue with your family, how can you be leaking things to your friend Gayle? And I'm thinking, did you not hear what was said? I feel like they have PhD in selective hearing.
Yeah.
What they want to hear is what they want to hear. Because Roya Nika, is that how you spell it? Roya Nika?
Roya Nika, yeah.
Yeah. She's the one who exposed this whole conversation. Why aren't you questioning Roya Nika why she didn't keep a family private conversation together, but she had to write about it? So Gayle and the Sussexes are responding to what was leaked, that it wasn't productive. Because if you are deciding to make this a private conversation, a private family matter, then why is a royal reporter reporting about a conversation that was had? But you're focusing on us, but not even on us. You're focusing on Meghan, who probably wasn't the one speaking with Gayle.
Yeah, which is exactly the point. Because when it came out, when right after the CBS clip came out, everyone was like, Meghan's friend. And I remember, like, excuse me, Gayle literally said Meghan and Harry.
Yeah.
So how is it just Meghan? Which is what they all were trying to say, oh, it's Meghan's friend.
Yeah, it's just how to demonize her.
If the royal family were keeping this a secret, how did Roya know that, one, they had a phone call?
Right.
Two, how did Roya know that the royal family are hiring a law, which was all part of the article, that they're hiring a law firm to handle the bogus bullying claim? How did Roya Nika know that Prince Charles his friends was, all upset because they're claiming that Prince Charles was still supporting Harry? How does Roya Nika know that? And one of the squad actually listed from Roya Nika's article all the sources that she cited in there. If all of those people were individual people, there were at least 19 people from the palace gave her information.
Right. That means the leakage is still happening on speed dial.
19 people
on speed dial.
Buckingham Palace, Kensington Palace, and Clarence House leaking information. How did they know that information if it was a private phone call between just William, his father, Prince Charles, and Harry? How did 19 people know this?
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. I feel, what? I was going to say something. I'm not going to say it. But I believe, and I know for sure, that in the months and years to come, the truth will come out. And it will come out where it needs to be, when it needs to come out. And the damage that needs to be done will be done. And whatever reconstruction that needs to take place will take place. Because evil will not win.
I'm telling you.
Evil will not win. It's like you cannot hide when you do evil things. It comes out. It will be exposed. And when it's exposed, it's like a mighty fall.
For me, I just always feel so bad because I'm like, if I was, especially like, I think I feel the same way about elderly Trump supporters because that's what it is. It's like they have been groomed to believe the lies. They have been groomed to hate. They have been groomed. It's like, it's what, Buy Investigates did an article about the monstering of Meghan Markle. And that really taught me a lot, because a lot of people who you would see hate Meghan Markle cannot even tell you why they hate her.
They hate her.
They have no evidence for the things they say about why, because the minute you ask them, can you send me evidence, you never hear from them again.
Oh, they'll call you, they'll call you all kind of foul words, and they'll be like, she made Harry do something, or she made Harry leave. And I was like, you are making Harry sound like someone who has no backbone. The man served 2 tours. Like, he fought. And you think he can't make his own mind? You don't play with vets, right? It's like, that's kind of like I think it's a global acknowledgement, right?
Yeah.
Your vets, your military men and women, you just don't mess with that. You give them their due respect, because they have sacrificed something that I know I'm not willing to sacrifice, but I am darn grateful, right, for every single one of them. They might have friend, political, whatever, but at the end of the day, they are willing to go out to the battlefield and fight. So you don't play with that, right? You give them the acknowledgement and you respect them, because there is something about someone willing to give their lives, right? For those who are Christians, you know what that means, that, Jesus gave his life. So for military men and women, it's not like they're not Jesus, we know that, right? But they are deciding to put their life on the line and to be killed. So that way we can, for us in the US, to walk around and act the fool sometimes. you know? And so it's like, no, you don't take that for granted. And for them to really just honor him that way, that was deplorable. Anyways, let's move on. Let's wrap this segment up, and we move on. We always want to end with a charity, right? Which we will be focusing on Archie Foundation charities and other charities. So today, I think it makes sense to go with Genesis Shelter, which, if you know anything about Genesis Shelter, they were they're a DV, domestic violence shelter that is based in Texas. That Meghan highlighted them on their foundation, and we, the squad, just swarmed it up and donated, and they even had a shopping list on Amazon, which I purchased a few things and sent to them, and also donated some money to them. But it is a charity that kind of like goes with the whole conversation today, right? Women and kids escaping from abuse and running to a shelter, and during the Texas snowstorm, their whole shelter got destroyed, pretty much, and so they needed to evacuate them and place them in different hotels and protect them, and then get that whole place fixed, which Harry and Meghan contributed to help rebuild their facility. So we want to highlight them today. And Petal, what have you read about them, and what do you want to say about them?
Yeah, I had never heard of them before. It's so funny, all the charities and organizations that I've only heard about because Meghan and Harry highlighted them.
Yeah, and it makes our work easier. We're like, oh, good, they do the work, and we're like,
exactly. It's like they're like, you go to them, they have the charity encyclopedia that we go, and find out. So how I found out about it was there because of the snowstorm. They're part of their roof caved in their one, their center. And so Harry and Meghan found out about it, and through Archie decided to replace their whole roof, replace the roof, and also provide other needs that they have because of that. And so that's how I found out about it. And it's so great, and it's such a great segue, as Pam was saying, into leaving abusive situations and going to a place, Harry and Meghan leaving the royal family and moving another continent. And this is about women and children. but the most vulnerable stages, leaving abusive situation and being able to find shelter, not just, temporary shelter, but Genesis also provides and help them to find permanent shelter. They also provide services like counseling services, group and also individual. They also provide legal services because they may need to sue, whoever they abuse or whatever. So they also provide all of those, and also they, because one of the things that they said too is because some people literally leave those abusive situations with just the clothes on their backs.
Yep.
And so they provide clothes, they even, one of the things that you could also supply for them is gently used clothes, they also have the Amazon wish list that you can go and that you can go and pick something that they need and be able to supply that.
And we will provide their handle and their website, so that way you guys can still go and contribute. They will always take money, any kind of donation, not money, any kind of donation to be able to help. Genesis just meaning beginning, right? It's a beginning. It's a new beginning, which
so it's like,
sense. Yeah. It's very applicable to Harry and Meghan, and also just the shelter for the women and children who are there, just creating a new start for them, a new beginning for them. So that brings up to the end of our very first episode on, Facts and Two Cents with PNP. And we hope you enjoyed our conversation. We will be bringing you much more topics. Again, we will, since there's so much going on with the royal family, we probably will be living in that space for a bit, and then just incorporating other conversations that are happening as well. So we will see you guys again soon. Well, subscribe. Go to our handle at, Facts and 2 Cents, spelled out, Facts and 2 Cents on Instagram.
The number 2.
Yes, the number 2 and cents on Instagram and on Twitter. And join us there. And let's hear from you what you think of our very first episode.
Yeah, and join us next week for more Facts and 2 Cents.
Absolutely. As Meghan always says, no bad energy.
No bad energy.
Bye.